My people, a Chinese mining company has completely poisoned a water stream. This is one of the biggest waters available in Zambia. The poison has killed all the fish in the water and has rendered this water stream undrinkable to the people of Zambia. This is unacceptable. Then we're going to go to Niger. Niger is pulled out of an organization called OIF, which is a French group of organizations that brings all countries that speak French together. You're going to find out about that. Okay, so we are in Zambia. Here's Zambia. Beautiful place, lovely people. I've never been there, but I've met a few Zambians before. Something really, really drastic is happening in Zambia right now, fellas, and we cannot spend the day without talking about this. So what has occurred in Zambia is a catastrophic acid spill from a Chinese-owned copper mine in Zambia has contaminated a major river, sparking fears of long-term environmental damage and potential harm to millions of people. So basically, the water is contaminated. How? From a mining company. What has occurred? Now, a mining company tailgate was broken, and after the break, there was about 50 million liters of waste containing concentrated acid, dissolved solid, and heavy metal that made their way from the Shambishi copper mine into the stream connecting to the Kafue. So basically a tailgate that holds waste from a mining company, acid, heavy metals, and poisonous substance has broken, therefore pushing all that waste, about 50 million liters, into one of the biggest streams in Zambia, the Kafue. The tailgating dam collapsed at the mine run by Sino Metals Leach Zambia, which is majority owned by the Chinese state-owned China non-ferrous metal. The spill raises alarm among Zambian authorities, including the president, Hakainde Hichilema, who called for help from experts and said the leak is a crisis that threatens people and wildlife along the Kafue. So this is crazy, fellas. Now, the Chinese are in Zambia for business. They don't play. They're murdering business in Zambia. No doubt about that. Now, the spill has been something many experts expected. This acidic heavy metal waste that went into the stream killed all the fish, killed all wildlife, killed everything. Now, people in Zambia, about 5 million of them, depend on this stream for their drinking water. So they have no access to drinking water right now. Reporters who visited part of the river confirmed that dead fish could be seen washing off the banks about 100 kilometers downstream from the mine run.
When I went to the fish pond, I found that the lime had flowed through the pond and all the fish had been swept away. I just stood in agony, wondering what I would do about the money I spent on the project. I stood there watching because there was nothing I could do.
It is estimated about 60% of Zambian population reside in Kafue River Basin and rely on its water. The river alone supplied drinking water to about 5 million people, including those in the capital city, Lusaka. The acid spill has already shut down the water supply in nearby city, Kitwe, where about 700,000 people don't have drinking water anymore. Now, this is what it is, fellas. This is sad. Why is this sad? Because China is a big contributor to the economy of Zambia. They have been mining in Zambia for the longest time. China is Zambia's largest export market, particularly for copper, and copper is Zambia's primary export, and China is one of the world's largest consumer of copper. In 2020, Zambia copper exports to China were worth over $2 billion. So that's a lot of money. Bilateral trade, about $4.1 billion in 2020. So Zambia relies on China quite a lot. Chinese FDI in Zambia mining sector is about $3 billion. Right until now, Zambia owes China about $6 billion. So the Chinese are in Zambia for business and they're not playing. And many people criticize the Zambian government about that. Many people say, I have never been to Zambia. Many people say that in Zambia you will find a lot of board with Chinese writing, Mandarin, not in English, but in Chinese writing. So this is not the first time, fellas, okay? You know, the modus operandi of Chinese, it's quite weird. It's not the first time. Something very similar happened in the DRC, where a Chinese company in 2021 in Tenke Fungurume mine pollution, where there was allegations of the Chinese polluting the rivers of Katanga region with the same technique. Absolutely insane. Not limited to Congo, in Zimbabwe as well in 2019. A Chinese-owned gold mine, Chamfi Gold Mine in Mashona land, was implicated in a spill of cyanide-laced waste into Angwa River. The incident occurred during a breach of a tailgating dam, releasing toxic runoff that killed the fish, livestock downstream and contaminated water supply for local communities. Residents reported the illness linked to water consumption. This is crazy stuff, okay? We're talking Congo, we're talking Zambia, we're talking Zimbabwe. And in Ghana, it's happening in Ghana as well, where the Chinese spilled poisonous substance into water because they were trying to get gold out of water. And this contaminated the water, killed all fishes, all livestock, and the water was not consumable to the people that relied on it. Now, the Zambian government sent the military to throw lime into the water stream. Yes, a lot of lime. Lime is often used as a treatment for mining toxic waste, particularly to neutralize acidic waters and remove harmful heavy metals. The process works in several ways. So basically, by throwing lime into a toxic environment, they expect it to raise the pH level of the water, hopefully to reverse the effect. But some experts believe it's been too late already.
Prior to the 18th of February, this was a vibrant and alive river. We had cormorants, we had kingfishers, there was small masengas, the fishing was good. Now everything is dead. It's just like a totally dead river. It's unbelievable. Overnight, this river died.
So the water in Zambia is unusable. No fish, no nothing, and people are suffering. Now, should Zambia have the money that Zambia need from China, they wouldn't be into this situation, right? This is another reason why Africans need to help each other. There are many countries in Africa that need copper from Zambia. Okay? We can use the same copper for African use instead of having to send it to China. I mean, you get somebody from another continent coming to your country where they don't necessarily respect you. How do you expect them to treat the environment? With disdain. They don't give a continent about you. But listen, an African brother will say, okay, this is home. Probably, well, I have a girlfriend here or a wife. Let me keep this place clean because it's our place. So there is a level of respect that you find there. Africa needs to come together so we don't need other people. It's simple. And now we're going to Niger. Here's Niger. Beautiful place, lovely people, but very hot. Now, in Niger, something very interesting has happened. Niger has withdrawn from the global French-speaking group, the International Organization of Francophone Nations. This is, again, fellas, in a way to show the French that they don't want anything to do with them anymore. So what is the OIF? It's an international organization that represents countries and regions where French is a common language. It's aimed to promote the French language, cultural diversity, peace, democracy, and human rights across all the states members. So again, they want to come and teach you about democracy. You know how it is. And we colonized you for many years. We beat you up. We forced you to eat cheese and all that stuff. I mean, black people didn't like anyway, let me not get into that. But then we're going to give you supposedly independence, but then by forcing you to keep using French as a main language and also being the middleman in case you have issues within yourselves. That's the goal of this organization. Promote the French language among Africans who are not necessarily promoting their own languages. Let me put it this way for you. You go in many French-speaking African countries. If you don't sound like a Frenchman, like you don't sound like a Frenchman, they perceive you as unintelligent. I mean, you may speak all the language that belongs to your grandfather, but if you don't speak French properly, you're not respected. And it's very sad in most of these African countries. They don't even speak their own mother's tongue. They can't. They look at it like it's, why are you talking those languages? Those monkey language. Yeah, it's crazy. That's what it is. Now, this is one of those organizations that the French have left to sort of keep their power. You know what it is. Now, Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali, you know them. These countries are real brothers because they really support one another. Their brotherhood is not limited to the skin of color. I know most of you call each other brothers, but when shit hit the fan, you run away. When they ask you to contribute money for a cause, you're not even there. You go like, nah, I'm not giving $10. Nah, I'm not. Yeah. But you like calling each other brother. When you want to question somebody's thought, you call him brother. When you want to diminish his idea, you call him brother first. When you want to disgrace him, you call him my brother. You know what I mean? When you want to correct him in public so he can be ashamed, you call him brother. But when it comes to contributing, you're not there. Building, you're not there. Pushing forward, you're not there. Joining the group, private group, you're not there. No, brother. Anyway, let's continue. I've told you before, brotherhood is absolutely nothing to do with skin color. Your brother is somebody that pushes you forward. Your brother is the person that will come and visit your children if you ever were incarcerated somewhere in a funny prison in Africa. Not only in Africa, even in America. Your brothers are the people that will give support to your parents if you were absent, if you were in a coma. Those are your brothers. Not people like, my brother, no, brother what? Get out of here. Now, Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali are real brothers. They are going together. Now, after Mali and Burkina Faso, Niger has followed through, leaving this group. Just weeks prior to the coup in Niger, Niger adopted a new national anthem, The Honor of the Fatherland, replacing the Nigerian written by French in 1961 after the country's independence. How crazy is that? We colonized you for many, many years. We beat you up. We forced you to eat cheese and speak French. Then we write your national anthem for you to sing after you. So it's just now that they've changed the national anthem. And hopefully it's in their language. As of now, OIF has 88 member states and governments. These include countries from Europe, Africa, the Americas, Asia, with a strong representation from the former French colonies. What is their goal? Their goal is mediation and conflict resolution, peacekeeping and stabilization, promoting democracy, election monitoring. Why do you need somebody to come and monitor your election? You're not 3 years old. You can do your own things, and you can do peacekeeping yourselves, and you can do mediation and conflicts in your own language. You can also promote your African version of a democracy. Let me know how you feel about this. Zambia, the water has been contaminated by a Chinese company bringing billions of dollars to Zambia because Zambia need money. You know, a poor person don't claim, they don't open their mouth, they don't have a level of respect, even though I think Zambia should have a level of respect and sometimes say no. You know, we poor, but hey, let's deal with African countries. We can maybe understand and respect each other. I mean, what is the president going to do? What about the people who will not have drinking water? What about the fish? How you get the fish? Are you going to go to South Africa to go get fish? It won't function because the fish in South Africa are not the fish in Zambia. You're going to go to Tanzania, ask for some fish to put in the river. Maybe that's one of the things you're going to do. But before you do that, you need to clean the river. How many times are you going to do this over and over? Have you found a solution about the money? I mean, if you clean the river, and does this mean it's not going to happen again in the future? What are the solutions? Are these companies, mining companies that have polluted, going to pay for this? Are they going to contribute in a way? Beyond contributing, are they going to sustain the people that relied on the river for the livelihood and money they made every single day? Are they going to give them a salary? What's going to happen to the people that are sick in hospital? Who's going to pay for those fares? Let me know how you feel about this. It was a great pleasure. God bless.